What's up, guys? Tony here hanging out. Give me a quick update. Let me know if you guys can hear and see me. Quickly, just let me know. Also, if you are a VIP or not, type in the chat if you're a Learn Auto Body and Paint VIP member. Let me know if you guys can hear and see me. Hopefully, the internet is not bad this morning. I'm working with what I got. So if you guys can please type in the chat, let me know if you hear my audio. And if you see me, let me know really, really quickly. That will be awesome. Yo, 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 I see you and hear you. Awesome. Arnold, I believe that was you who sent me a picture of you in the spray gun and gun bud with the green motorcycle. That was you, right? We've been getting so many emails. It's like ridiculous. Everyone, is the like button working? All right, Arnold. I love your picture, Arnold. It came in a little blurry. If you don't mind, maybe take another clearer one and send it in. It came in a little blurry looking, and I was hoping, because I'm going to be basically promoting all of your guys' images on our websites and everything, and showing the world, the awesome community, the awesome VIP community that we have. Because I really enjoy this, and I love seeing you guys on every week and all that. So awesome. Sean says, all the way from Trinidad, Sean says, what did Sean just say? Something funny. They're opening something about KFC. Sean said something about KFC. I think they're opening up KFC or something. Oh, I love my Mini X16. Yo, people quarantine lifting tomorrow. KFC is going to be opening after they was closed for a month. Oh my God. I hear and see you. All right. One more thing, guys. What's up, Jack? I don't see anything. Still says waiting for Tony. That's weird. Jack, I would refresh the chat, guys. What's up, Big Tony? Hope all is well, brother. What's up, Nathaniel? So we're all good, right? You guys are hearing me. You guys are seeing me. All good. Just want to double extra confirm here before we get started. Any new VIPs on the chat tonight? New VIP members, new Learn Auto Body members jumping on for the first time. And then, guys, don't forget to queue up your questions. Okay. Just did, and now we are here. What's up, Jack? I hope you like that PowerPoint video I created for you. And guys, if you missed Jack's PowerPoint that I created talking about Featherfill, I will give you that video link here. You could watch it after the show, but I really went in depth on Jack's project and talked about, his next steps, when it comes to laying on his paint. So if he's going with the single stage, he should be fine. So I'm just going to copy the link here. I'm going to give you the link, guys, because it was a PowerPoint. It took me 4 hours to create the PowerPoint. 4 hours and another 30 minutes prepping for recording and all of that. So doing these PowerPoints is not an easy gig. It literally takes me all morning to knock one out, like starting at right after I eat breakfast. So if sometimes I start at 7:30, I won't even eat. And by 1 o'clock, I'll be done because I got to take breaks, So now everybody sees Jack's project. That's just the link, guys, if you want to see Jack's project. And I have another VIP member who sent in some awesome pictures and some questions, which I'm going to make another PowerPoint. And I'm on a roll with these PowerPoints. I feel like I can give so much value with these things. Talking about value, I don't know if you guys remember, but I was talking about inviting you guys to a special training that I'm going to be doing, talking about e-commerce and how, if some of you guys on here want to get on the bandwagon and jump on and learn how to build an online business using e-commerce, selling online, I'm putting together a training very, very soon. And I have a page here if you guys want to register for that. I'm going to put up a page right now where you can just get registered. You don't have to do it this second, but later on after the stream, look through the page. It's just some things. And these are snapshots of last month's income from one of my e-commerce stores. It's one of my bigger stores online. And this is e-commerce where we sell physical products. I have a partner. We have 2 other websites that we partner together, and we generate similar amounts of income that we split. And this is besides my digital business. So I also sell digital products like my auto body online membership, my car flipping courses, and my tube cash books and my car books on Amazon. So like I have a lot of assets that we sell online. And this is how I've been able to generate, life-changing income, live from anywhere in the world, provide for my family for about 10 years now. I've been doing this successfully, making a full-time income online since 2009. So if any of you guys are interested, just register on that page over there. No push, whatever. And then we're going to be doing a training before the 22nd. So I'm in the middle of putting the training together right now. It's going to be an in-depth training that shows you how all of the mechanics works. And if some of you could decide to partner with me and join me, there is going to be a registration fee where you can register and join me to get to the next level. So that's how things are going to work. Other than that, let's get started with the auto body Q&A, guys. So somebody here says, hey, Tony, what is all the product you need to paint car parts? Primer, paint, clear coat, is that it? Or am I wrong? I'm guessing you have the idea. You need body filler maybe, or some epoxy if you're filling cracks or dings and stuff like that. So that's pretty much it. You need body filler, sandpaper. Okay, you're going to need some 80 grit, 150 grit, and then you're going to need some grits down to like 320, 380, 400, and even 1500 and 2000 grit to get to that fine finishing stage where if you need to cut and buff, that's what you'll be doing. All right. So hopefully that helps. If you want to learn more, guys, Goku, I would definitely check out the site, my website, LearnAutoBodyAndPaint, and download that free auto body book because you'd be able to learn from the interactive video that I have there. I'm going to drop a link for you. Well, it's a PDF book. It's close to 100 pages where we talk about priming, and then I'll have a video that goes to a YouTube video priming. All right, so it's very interactive. So it's not only text, it's actually text with a video link, right? Where you just click it, you go, you get to see, yada, yada, yada. All right, so it helps you out big time right there. Hey, Tony, how would you go with prepping aftermarket street bike plastic? So Evan, all I would do is wash it down with 400 grit or a fine Scotch-Brite pad. Put 2 coats of 2K filler primer on it, okay? And let that dry. Give it about 2-3 hours. Let that dry really good. And then I would wash it down with 400 grit wet sand, okay? And then you're ready for paint. If you cut through the plastic in some areas, I would kind of touch it up. You could use a 1K or go over with a 2K primer again. But if it's very, very little, you could just base those areas first while you're painting and then cover the rest of the panels thicker and thicker. All right. Guy says, Tony, do you think the Mako paint jobs are good? I think you get what you pay for. So I wouldn't expect a $5,000 paint job if you're paying $1,500. You know what I mean? They're not going to put as much time into the body repair process. And a lot of times, Mako's been known for, if you take your car to a car wash, it's going to blow your paint job off. So just keep that in mind. They don't do the best masking. They don't do the best painting. They don't do the best prepping. But you get what you pay for. Mako's good if you are if you want to do a cheap, quick paint job for a car that you're going to flip for profit, or you just want something on your car now so it doesn't look as bad. It's not really long term. Hopefully this is helping, guys. Let me know if this is helping or not. Give a quick like if it is. If it isn't, let me know. Let's see. Wicked Moto. Hey, Tony from Illinois. Beginner to auto body and painting. Just bought your VIP course 3 days ago. Already finished the beginner 150-page manual. That is awesome. Hope you're liking the course. And again, Wicked Moto, if you have more in-depth questions, if you are a VIP, and because I know VIPs, everyone has a unique project. If you want to get more info from me, I'm more than willing to put in 4 or 5 hours of my time to create a presentation for you based on your project. So if you want to send me in 10 pictures of your project, what you're working on, we just got somebody from South Africa who just sent in some really good pictures and like circled some areas, put some text in there. So I'm going to reply back. So I will be more than happy to reply back with something that you'll really learn from and that others can gain info from as well. So Wicked Moto says, my question is, what are the steps for painting a bare metal panel? When do I use dry sanding and when do I use wet sanding? Okay, good questions. Very good questions. I should actually take a picture of that because that is something I could really talk about. But to give you the quick rundown is if you have a lot of bare metal, you'd want to use an epoxy primer. Okay, epoxy is very good for going over a bare metal. Then you would sand that down with like 320 grit, get it roughed up, okay, and then put a 2K filler primer on top of it. Any 2K filler primer. I'm not going to shout out brand names. There's so many out there. Okay, you're just looking for a 2K filler primer sealer. Okay? All over the place. You can get cheap ones. You can get more expensive ones. I'll just name a cheap one that I use. It's called Advantage. You might have it in your local area. You might not. Okay, it's just called Advantage 2K filler primer. When do I use dry sanding? So dry sanding, I mainly use dry sanding when putty filler or any kind of filler or epoxy. You never want to wet sand that stuff, okay? Especially if you're shaping. So when you're doing a lot of hardcore body shaping and cutting down filler, you're always dry sanding, okay? If you're using the straight inline sander, the DA orbital sander, or a block with some 80 grit or 150 grit, you're using dry sanding, okay? Wet sanding comes in place more when you're prepping for paint in the final stages. You know, we're sanding clear coat down. You're using 400 grit. Sanding clear coat down, you're using 400 grit to cut primer to get it flat, okay, and wet sanding. You could also dry sand in those final stages, okay? Some people like to just dry sand all the way down. I don't, because dry sanding cakes up your sandpaper really quickly, so you go through more sandpaper, and it's very dusty and dirty. I like to finish off my paint jobs, and this is just me. I've been doing it for 20 years. It's just the way I like to do it. You know, there's a lot of people who like to do it the way I do, but you don't have to. I think you get a cleaner cut, you get a better finish, you get to see better, especially when you squeegee the car down. You can see what you're doing a lot better. Your sandpaper lasts longer, and I think you just get a cleaner cut and prep wet sanding by hand before your final paint job. So keep that in mind. And I also like to, you know, when cutting clear coat, okay, for refinishing and buffing, I like to cheat. Okay, you could basically go with wet sanding, and I've came up with this method through a lot of years of just trial and error and experience. You know, so when I used to cut for buffing, I used to basically use like a 1200 grit, 1500 grit by hand. Just basically imagine blocking out a whole car by hand. And this is when I was training, like, you know, Daniel-san and Mr. Miyagi when I was 16, 17 years old. You know, I was like strong. I could just be sanding for hours and hours and hours and not get tired, right? I would just block the whole thing out by hand, like all day, sanding all day. You know, I was doing big cars, classic cars, Buick Rivieras, Chevelles, you know. But if you want to speed up the process, I would use an orbital DA sander with like 12 to 1500 grit. You just have to be careful that you don't cut through. So if you're feeling a little bit more comfortable with your tools, you could definitely cut your sanding time, you know, cut more than half of it off by cutting your clear coat with a 12 to 1500 grit, and then final sanding it, washing it down with a 2000 grit. So you could do a dry sand. You know, again, it's going to eat your paper up a little bit quicker and cake a little bit. That's why you're going to have to be hitting it, you know, rubbing it against your jeans, getting that that powder off your pad, and then getting back on the clear coat and sanding, you know. And it cuts really well, and you can see the cutting when dry sanding especially when dry sanding clear coat. Okay, at the 1500 grit level or 1200 grit for your finished buffing stage, right? To get that finish to look like glass. And then I like to wash it out with 2000. You could even go to 2500. It looks like my stream is dying. Hopefully, let me refresh because it looks very bad. Are we doing okay, guys, on the stream? Okay. Hopefully that helps. Hopefully that helps. We'll go on to the next. Are we good, guys? Okay. Sean says, question. So I'm in the process of wet sanding my car. Started with 600 grit, 15, 25. I used 3M compound and 3M polish, and it's shiny, but I noticed fine scratches. What's the problem there? So I would say if you're noticing fine scratches, you probably gouged it with your 600 grit. That's super coarse to sand clear coat for refinishing. So you're probably seeing that 600 grit scratch mark through your 15 and 25 because those grits didn't cut down far enough. So you basically have to keep sanding. You have to sand below that 600 grit scratch mark. And I would never use 600. I mean, the coarsest I use is probably 1,000 for wet sanding. And then I quickly go to 1,500 and then 2,000. 2,000 is pretty much a good area. Once you're in the 2,000 range, you can buff that out, no problem. Okay, you don't have to go to 25 unless maybe you're working with a dark color, like dark burgundy reds or black, stuff like that. But the problem is if you see scratches, you need to sand down more and rebuff it out. Charles Phillips, any advice for me? This will be my first project, 68 GS 400 body and paint. Well, Charles, it's very hard for me to answer your question. You're just asking for advice. I have no details whatsoever. So I would say the best thing for you to do right now, if you're brand new, is just download my auto body guide here. I just gave you the link. Check down below. That will kind of help you out and help you get started. Tony Prio says, your thoughts, orange peel, denim pad, or old-fashioned color wet sanding compound and polish? Well, I would use, like I just said, we just talked about wet sanding. I would use a 12 to 1,500 grit dry sand to take out your orange peel. Just cut it down. If you don't feel comfortable, if you feel like you're going to burn through, I would just cut it down with 1,200 grit by blocking, okay, with your hand. With a block, of course. You could use a holy block or a softer block, the foam blocks that has a little cushion to it, and block it out, and then go down to 2,000 grit. Make sure it's all 2,000 grit, and then buff it with your compound and foam polish. All right. So hopefully that helps. How do you get rid of fisheye on clear coat? So if you have fisheye on your clear coat, you basically have to let it dry. You might be able to cut and buff it depending on how deep the fisheye is. But usually if you have it, it's too late to get rid of it. Okay, unless you do the job over. A way you could prevent it is to add fisheye eliminator. It's a little bottle that you can buy called fisheye eliminator, and just put a couple of drops in your paint while you paint. It might be because you have basically oil in your airline somehow. I don't know like what system you're using or how your shop setup looks like. You basically have some contamination in your airline, or your panels were not properly wiped down before painting. That's what causes fisheye. Very rarely, but it can happen, could be a bad batch of paint. So I don't know exactly what you're working with, but check those areas. And you might want to just get some fisheye eliminator, add a couple of drops, a squirt, comes in a squirt bottle, add a squirt to your base coat and even in your clear coat, or even single stage. It doesn't matter what paint you put it in, you could just squirt it in there. and it'll work. I don't know if it works on waterborne though. I haven't been painting with a lot of waterborne. Steven Mitchell, Mako is lazy. If you do all the body work, prep and clean, they can shoot paint only if you're flipping. Oh boy, you don't want to see my drag car I'm working on. She's a hot mess. Hey Tony, Robert VIP, Sunshine Coast, Australia. What's up, Robert? What's up, mate? Wicked Moto says basically she was a body shop, already worked, body shop closed up. She sat outside for 4 years, developed surface rust. My buddy was going to help me. Awesome. What's up, Steve? Yo, yo. Then he just comes over, does the work, had me spray Eastwood rust preventer to buy some time, switching to PBG shop line. So I want to sand everything down, bare metal, and start all over. That's a good idea. Awesome, guys. Hey, Tony. All right, so I'm going to kind of shoot down. I'm going to shoot down the chat here. What's up, Russ? What's up? I see you, Russ. Smash that like button, fellas. Smash the like button. Okay, a little blurry, good on my end. 3M Trizac system works great after clear coat and cuts down on compound polishing time. Awesome. So let's see. Any more Q&A, or should we talk about the pandemic and shutdown, or what's going on? And I agree, Pistol Pete. I used to use the Perfected system a lot, and I do like the Perfected system. They have a good compound and polish and glaze. Live stream, how to run. Yeah, man, you clear. Okay, good. What is the difference between body filler and polyester putty? So body filler is AKA Bondo. Okay, it's Bondo, which is the thick, which is filler where you fill up bigger dents and gouges in your panels and stuff like that, right? Or if you're doing custom body work and you're molding, you're building out certain areas of your body. Okay, that's body filler. It comes in a 1 gallon, depending on where you are. But it's the thicker body filler, like Rage, Rage Gold, Evercoat has Bondo. It's just thick stuff. And then the glaze, polyester filler putty, okay, like Dolphin Glaze, okay, or Glaze putty is what you put on the final stages. So you basically want to get your body filler cut, shaped with 80 grit, 40 grit, maybe 80 grit, down to 150, maybe down to 240 before you put a 2K filler primer on it. After that, if you have any chips or imperfections, you would fill that stuff with your glaze putty, okay, your polyester putty, which fills in those little nicks, scratches, and stuff like that. Then you sand it, you wash it down with your sanding, 400 grit usually, and then you're ready for paint. Of course, you want to prime those areas where you have any body filler, Bondo, or glaze putty exposed, because you don't want to paint over that. And then you basically, so hopefully that helps. To eliminate 1K primer, do I need to go back to metal or just aggressive sandpaper? You could just, 1K primer is very thin. You could just basically sand it off. Okay, if you're on a metal body or whatever, you could just sand it off. Some use that orange peel remover. And some do it, like you said, old-fashioned way. The question should I have asked is, do you know about the orange peel removal pad? Which one are you talking about, Tony? Can you maybe give me a certain name I can look up? Are you talking about a compound and pad? I haven't used it if you're talking about the pad and compound, but most times if you have bad orange peel, it's best just to cut it down, especially if you're working on custom paint jobs. Tony, one more question. If you don't mind, if I were to sand down the bare metal, do I need to sand the metal up to 320 before spraying epoxy primer? No, you don't. Your metal could be 80 grit before spraying epoxy primer. Okay, that's fine. But I would go down to at least a 150. Okay, because you're probably going to be using 60 grit, 80 grit to get to your metal, and metal doesn't really scratch as much as like paint would. So once you're down on the metal and sanding metal with 80 grit, it's, you do have scratches in it, but a 2K filler primer or epoxy will easily fill that up because it's pretty fine. Like 80 grit on metal is not as rough as you think it is. Tony, who stocks the Holy Block and stuff that you use? Do they ship to South Africa? Well, I usually buy mine off Amazon or my local paint supplier. So yeah. What is the difference between body filler and polyester putty? I did that. All right. Tony, I really need to know, bro. Need the panels cleaned before priming again? Yes, I would just use a regular wax and grease remover if washing and cleaning over a 2K primer. Okay, you don't want to use wax and grease remover cleaning over a 1K primer because it'll melt the primer. Denim pad. Let me see. Denim pad. Oh, okay. Okay, I'll look into it. I'll definitely look into this pad and maybe make some reviews and stuff on that. All right, that'll be cool. Well, let's test it out. Stephen Mitchell, should I use a 2K or epoxy primer on new panels with E-coat? Never used new panels before. So Stephen Mitchell, I would sand your E-coat down with like a 360 grit. Okay. Anywhere from, I think 360 would be a good grit. 320 or 360 grit. And I would spray you don't need to spray an epoxy primer. Don't go down to metal. Just put a 2K over your E-coat. All right. I've actually painted base coat right over E-coat. I don't think you're supposed to do it, but it came out fantastic. I just washed it down, and this is like was it a customer car? It might have been one of my auction cars back in the day, but when I used to buy new body panels and put them on, they used to come with the E-coat. I used to sometimes just wash it down with 400 grit. And especially if I'm painting black, I would just paint black base and paint right over it, and I had a problem. But you could put a 2K primer on it. So if you want to put a good primer on top of that E-coat, you could paint over E-coat. But if you want to put a primer on it, put a 2K primer on, just scuff it up, sand it with like a 320, 360 grit, put primer on it, cut it down and do it. So hopefully that helps. Sushi is so good, it doesn't even need to be cooked. What sandpaper brands do you recommend? I don't really have a favorite brand because you can get good brands even from China on eBay. Like as long as they're like a silicone carbide, I get any brand. As long as they're like wet sanding sandpaper, they pretty much all work pretty well. I won't go out of my way and buy a top grade sandpaper. I usually just go on Amazon and just buy China made, cheap sandpaper, and it always does the job. All right. Thank you, my videos. Tony Pro, thanks for checking. Also, is a larger air hose diameter better for spraying, or is 3/8 just as good as long with a high flow connections? 3/8 is just as good. You don't want to use a 1/4 inch. Airline is way too small. 3/8 is all you need, but you're going to need a 1/4 inch connector. A 1/4 inch connector is all you need. Okay, as long as you got the 3/8 hose. You could use high flow connectors if you want, but you don't need it. All right. Awesome, guys. So anyway, guys, let's wrap it up. We've been on for about 30 minutes now. I just want to say thank you for getting on, and I'll see you guys on Thursday night will be the next live that we do. Give a quick like before we head out, and if you're totally brand new, and if you want to learn more about auto body, definitely check out LearnAutoBodyAndPaint.com. There's a ton of information, a ton of free information, and also a VIP option if you guys want to check that out. So I'll drop that link here. And if you guys want to join VIP, we are doing a special for the next day and a half or so where we are running a 1995 special. But it's a 5-pay option at 1995, and you get all access to all of our 180 hours of VIP training. So I'm going to drop that link as well. If some of you non-VIPs are on here and you want to check it out, check that out. And also, the final link I'm going to drop is a link for the new training that I'm going to be doing called Ecom Dom, where I'm going to basically take a group of you interested people and show you how to build a thriving e-commerce business online, even through these weird times. So here is the registration link for that. Thank you, Jack. I will drop that link there for some of you guys who are interested in the e-com domination training that's coming out within the next 10 days or so. Sign up for that. Stay tuned for my notifications, and I will talk to you later. Peace out. Thank you guys for joining us, and I'll see you guys in a couple of days. Peace. Thank you.